Think about that one person, maybe when you were younger. A teacher, a coach, someone who just really knew how to connect with kids and, point them in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has someone like that, hopefully.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into someone who seems to be exactly that person for a lot of young people, Corey Pearce.
Right. And we've got some really interesting material to work with here.
We do. We've sifted through quite a bit. YouTube videos, showing Corey and his students right there in action. News articles talking about his drumline success.
Heartfelt letters, too, from colleagues, parents.
Yeah, and even Corey's own professional summary. It gives a pretty rounded picture.
And I think what stands out when you put it all together is that Corey's impact seems to go way beyond just like the musical achievements.
Totally.
So our goal here for you listening is to really try and understand the person, behind the drumsticks and how his work is fundamentally shaping these young lives. It's not just the trophies, it's the growth, the community he's building.
Exactly. So, okay, let's start with Corey himself. Who is he? It's pretty striking that his commitment to working with kids goes way back.
Yeah, that letter from Holy Family School, 1991.
1991. It talks about him volunteering consistently, multiple afternoons a week, and doing all sorts of things, playing games with the little ones, helping older kids, grades 4 and 5, with math and spelling.
Wow.
Even helping out in the library with phys ed, a real all-rounder.
And what's telling in that early feedback is the praise, right? Reliable, conscientious, and this genuine stated desire to help children. It makes you wonder if that wasn't sort of the bedrock for everything that followed.
It really feels like it. And that commitment, it didn't fade, it just grew. His professional summary shows this long career over 2 decades as an educational assistant with the Hamilton-Wentworth Catholic District School Board.
2001 to 2025, yeah. Plus the work with individuals with special needs, Geneva Center for Autism.
That's right. And also as a respite and foster home worker. He even got certified in autism intervention.
So this isn't just someone who, enjoys hanging out with kids. It's woven into his professional identity, his skill set.
Definitely. He's built up this extensive experience.
And you have to think, that breadth of experience, dealing with diverse needs, different learning styles, that probably gives him a really nuanced understanding of what kids need academically and, personally.
Which surely feeds into how he runs the drumline.
Absolutely. It informs that whole inclusive, supportive approach we see coming through later.
Okay, so that leads us right into his other great passion. Music. Percussion, specifically. You see the energy in those YouTube videos? It's palpable.
Oh, yeah.
And it's clear his own background in marching percussion was like the spark for the St. Mary's drumline.
And he wasn't just playing, he was teaching it elsewhere too, right? Civilian instructor with the Canadian Armed Forces.
Yep, teaching adults and kids there. And now he's doing work as a children's educator and entertainer with Majestic Drums, running these hands-on workshops.
So music isn't just a hobby, it's a core part of how he connects, how he teaches.
It seems fundamental.
And it's that intersection, isn't it? The education background and the music passion coming together, that's where the magic probably happens.
Right. It suggests the drumline isn't just about beats per minute or technique. It's using music as a tool for something bigger.
For engagement, for development.
Yeah.
And that brings us to his actual philosophy, how he runs things. This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
The inclusivity part.
Yes. Multiple sources really hammer this home. He has this policy. He never cuts a student if they're interested and committed. Full stop.
Which is pretty radical for competitive activities, right? Usually it's all about skill cuts.
Totally. He's quoted in one article saying, as long as they follow the school rules, we find a place for them. That says so much about his priorities.
It really does. It suggests he values participation, belonging, maybe effort, over just raw talent. And that must build incredible loyalty.
You'd think so. It probably motivates kids who might feel excluded elsewhere.
For sure. It's about collective growth, not just chasing perfection with an elite few. And it's a serious commitment they make. The articles mentioned students putting in over 50 hours a month, learning, practicing, rehearsing.
50 hours? That's huge for the kids and for him.
Right. He's quoted saying, "I do this 7 days a week from September to June." And when asked why, it's because of these kids. Simple as that.
Wow. That level of dedication. It's not just about the drumming itself. It's an investment in the kids. Sets a powerful example, too. Commitment, perseverance.
And he seems very deliberate about the environment.
Yeah.
Creating this positive, supportive space The goal, explicitly, is fostering good people.
That phrase stood out.
Yeah. And they apparently recite the Optimist Creed before every rehearsal,
That's fascinating. Talk about intentional culture building.
focusing on positivity, seeing the good in yourself and others. It's not just happening by accident, that supportive vibe.
No, that's actively shaping the group's mindset. Resilience, respect. It likely contributes massively to that supportive atmosphere everyone talks about.
And the performances. Based on the news reports and videos, they're not just standing there drumming.
No kidding. The thriller piece with actors, a graveyard set, zombie costumes.
Right. And another report mentions blindfolds, face paint, unconventional stuff.
It shows he knows how to make it fun, engaging, keep them interested.
He's clearly got a knack for it, blending creativity with high standards because they do well in competitions too.
That blend is key, isn't it? It probably makes the whole learning process way more enjoyable, more memorable. Allows for self-expression too.
And what's really remarkable is how kids with zero drumming experience seem to just flourish.
Yeah, the testimonials mention that.
Students in the YouTube clips talk about him being a really effective teacher, a great motivator. One kid said he learned so much so quickly.
It suggests his teaching style is just very clear, very accessible, breaks down barriers, makes it feel achievable for anyone.
Which points to him being a skilled educator, not just a musician. He knows how to transfer that knowledge, that passion.
Patience, understanding different learning styles. It all comes back to that broad background, maybe.
Okay, so we have this picture emerging. Corey, deeply invested, drawing on education and music, creating this inclusive, dedicated, positive, and fun environment.
Yeah, quite a foundation.
So now, let's shift focus a bit more squarely onto the impact. What effect does all this actually have on the young people he works with? What does the evidence show?
Well, one theme that comes through loud and clear again and again is this incredible sense of belonging, community.
The family atmosphere.
Exactly. Several students in the videos straight up call it a family. One kid got quite emotional saying, coming to practices and just seeing the family. You know, you have a whole family here. It's great.
Wow, that's powerful. And it's not just a feeling, right? The Cable 14 segment noted that this sense of belonging was having tangible effects.
Positive impacts on their academics, how they carry themselves in school.
Yeah, with this visible pride, it seems to really shape their self-identity in a positive way.
And that feeling of belonging, especially during those teenage years, it's just so crucial. It can be transformative, influencing everything, social life, emotional well-being.
And even, as we see here, schoolwork.
Definitely. It all connects.
Another big theme is confidence, building self-esteem,
Makes sense. Just the act of learning a tough skill like drumming
committing to all that practice.
and then performing in front of people at competitions. That takes guts.
For sure. And one student, Cole Chalupka, was quoted in an article saying the drum line gave him confidence he just wouldn't have had otherwise.
And it's often that collective experience, right? Tackling challenges together, succeeding as a group. That's incredibly empowering, builds resilience, self-belief that goes way beyond drumming.
Yeah, absolutely. And the skills they pick up aren't just musical either.
No, the sources are full of that. Teamwork, discipline, responsibility.
Time management, communication, problem solving. One parent, in a letter, compared her daughter as doing basketball and drumline
Ah, interesting comparison.
and noted how both taught those vital lessons. Teamwork, discipline, personal responsibility.
Those are fundamental life skills, things they'll use everywhere. The drumline is basically like a training ground for collaboration and work ethic.
And it seems like that belonging, that discipline, it creates this positive cycle that helps them in school generally.
Right. The principal at St. Mary's mentioned that kids are enthusiastic about going to practice, even though it's demanding.
Because it's structured, it's a positive outlet, connects them with peers.
And that fosters pride in being part of the school community overall. It ripples outwards.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is for young people. Feeling good in one area lifts others.
Exactly. Success breeds success, in a way.
We also heard some really moving stories from students about discovering a passion they never knew they had.
Yeah, kids who'd never drummed before.
One student in a video said flat out, if it wasn't for Corey, he probably wouldn't have found this passion. Might just be, sitting at home.
That's huge. It shows Corey's ability to not just teach, but to ignite something in kids, to see potential they might not see themselves.
He's not just catering to the already musical kids. He's opening doors.
Creating new interests, enabling self-discovery.
And his role, just as a person in their lives, the mentorship aspect is huge.
The Uncle Biggie nickname says a lot.
Doesn't it? clearly a term of endearment, trust. And another student called him a second father.
Wow.
Said Corey helped him through tough times, keeps him motivated.
That's incredibly significant. Having positive adult role models outside the family, especially during those adolescent years, it's vital. He's clearly filling that role.
And he's thinking about the future, too, trying to expand the program into feeder schools.
Give younger kids that early start, right? Get them involved sooner.
Yeah, it shows real long-term vision. And Impact Percussion, the organization he leads, offers different programs for various ages and skills, making it accessible.
That's smart. It suggests a really deep understanding of how to build something sustainable, something impactful for the whole community, not just one school.
There was also that really compelling letter from a former student, Evan Carr.
Ah, yes, that one was powerful.
He talked about always wanting to be in a drumline, but never having the chance until Corey. And he directly credits Corey's mentorship for his musical path, his self-esteem.
And even getting appointed corporal in the Fort Henry Guard later on.
Exactly. It just shows the ripples, right? The long-term, far-reaching effects.
It's a fantastic example of how the influence extends way beyond high school. The skills, the confidence, the mentorship, it opens doors they might never have even considered.
And finally, weaving through all of this, you have the voices of parents, educators.
The letters of recommendation.
Yeah. And they consistently talk about his hard work, his dedication, his unique ability to connect and inspire.
His caring nature, enthusiasm.
Creating that positive, safe environment. One parent mentioned his selflessness, giving up personal time, how it feels like an extended family.
And an educator pointed out his understanding of students with exceptionalities, how he proactively supports them.
It all just reinforces what the students themselves are saying, but from that adult perspective, it confirms the breadth and depth of his impact.
Absolutely. It paints a very consistent picture.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels pretty clear. Corey Pearce is way more than a drumline coach. He's this dedicated educator, a real mentor, a community builder.
He's created this space, this truly welcoming space where kids find talent, build confidence, learn life skills.
And maybe, most importantly, find that sense of belonging, that family.
Yeah. And exploring all this really makes you think about how crucial people like Corey are for young people's lives, for, building thriving communities.
It really does. It highlights the value of these kinds of extracurriculars and the often unsung heroes who pour their energy into guiding the next generation.
Makes you wonder about the programs in your own area, doesn't it?
Totally. Yeah. Or maybe reflect on the mentors who made a difference in your own life. Who was your Corey?
That's a good question. Ultimately, Corey's story is just this powerful reminder, isn't it? The incredible lasting impact one dedicated person can have.
Shaping futures, building community.
One beat at a time.